Absolutely. Our final guest tonight is talking to us live from Kingston, I believe, isn't he?
He is indeed. Our final guest tonight is all the way in Kingston. He's a great broadcaster and troublemaker on the airwaves. He's a former event promoter who used his passion about life and provocative subjects to now make great content. Welcome to the scene, Kareem Weathers, a.k.a. Bwoyatingz.
Yes.
Did I say that right?
Yes,
Do I get ratings?
You sure did.
I must
thank you so much for having me, though. Thank
it's
you.
an absolute pleasure. How are you doing?
I'm good. The only problem is I think we might have some technical issues as it relates to persons from back here listening. But we should get it recorded, so that should be fine.
We sound all good so far. I will be the one to let you know. I have the ear in this studio, so I will be the one to tell you if we hear anything else. So you're all good. But is it nice and sunny over there? I'm jealous. We got no sun. It's great and rainy here.
It has been nice and sunny for the past 5 minutes. It's rained and then it's back sunny again. So we're perfectly good weather here. Thanks be to God.
Oh,
it's the summer.
Yeah, well, unfortunately for us, the summer means floods, it means grey skies, it means everything. But anyway, for those that are hearing about you for the first time, who is Kareem Weathers, a.k.a. Bwoyatingz?
The intro that you just did, it basically wraps me up in a minute. But, I'm a podcaster, I'm a YouTuber, I'm a radio show presenter. I used to host events. I am a conservative person, contrary to popular beliefs, but I do see what's on my mind.
Yeah.
And I love a great conversation. And I think that is why I am in the field that I'm in.
Why podcasting?
To be honest with you, I don't even know. I started this in the midst of the pandemic last year, right? And we were all on a lockdown, and I was transitioning from the corporate work world. And I've worked in a job for 6 years, and it was a bittersweet end for me personally. So when I started the podcast, it was literally a couple months to a year of me trying to figure myself out. It was me coming out of depression. It was me, praying and asking God for direction. And when the podcast started last year, we were on a lockdown due to this whole COVID thing. And just like anybody else, I was just trying to figure it out, and I'm just trying to cope mentally. And I can just recall me being on Instagram lives, and it was just us, me and about 10 or 15 people just playing like some Never Have I Ever's, or we're playing like ABC Fast or Slow, or just having just minimal conversation, right? And I can recall one of those lives that I was like, maybe I should make it more structured. And I can recall one of those lives went viral. Before I even came off the live, it was viral. It was all over the internet. And we were talking about like sexual taboo preferences. And I remember coming off of that live, and it's like, maybe it was months of me being depressed and praying to God every single night and asking God for direction. I remember coming off of that live, and I just kind of felt a sense of conviction. I felt very, very passionate, like, okay, this is exactly what I should be doing. And 3 days after that, I started my podcast. I didn't have no experience. I've never been on the radio before. I didn't have any experience in that field, and I just started doing my research, and I started it. And 3 days after that, my first episode was up, and the rest has been history.
Look at life. Now, a lot of things happened during lockdown. We had the Versus battle come alive. One of our ex-presenters here, Judy Love, created quarantine date nights, which went absolutely crazy. So much beauty came out of such a, horrible time. And honestly, props to you, because, it takes courage to put yourself out there and just go for it. And look at where you are now. I want to ask you, because you mentioned your radio show, it's on News Talk 93 FM. Did that come then after all of this, right?
Yes. When I started my podcast, it was doing, and still is doing, very, very great, right? And I've always been somebody that, believes in going for everything. So if I'm going to be in media, I really think that I should conquer all different aspects or all different fields of media. So when I started my podcast, I was saying to myself, not everybody listens to a podcast or not everybody watches YouTube. But for those who don't do the YouTube thing or the podcast thing, they must listen to the radio, right?
Yeah.
So then I started to shop around the radio show, and I can remember a couple persons told me no, and a couple persons were saying to me that they can't see this on the radio, and there would not be an audience for my type of show because radio has moved on from the provocativeness of my, type of topics that I wanted to talk about. And I remember I had a friend, and he used to work on Newstalk, and like something just said to me, call him, and I asked him, and I called him, and he pitched it to the manager of Newstalk. And, clearly she did have her reservations. I mean, my content is not the cookie cutter, clean content.
Doesn't sound very BBC either.
But the thing is, I've always said this to people that I can relate to any single person possible, right? I'm a very, very diverse person. So if it is that you bring me in of a room of older persons who are very conservative, then I can engage in conversations like that as well. So when I actually had that meeting with the Newstalk manager, immediately she said, yes, like this is what we need. Radio needs this, and she can see it working. And it's been a year. It's been a year and a couple months. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Your accent, right? You do Jamaica proud, right? Because let me tell you,
yes.
I'm from the country, okay? So I'm used to hearing like the patois, the kind of broken down. And then when I try and speak the patois, everyone kind of laughs. Your English accent is impeccable. Is that how you have to broadcast, or can you brock out in a little bit of patois?
All right. The thing is, I lived in the States for a couple of years. So I lived in America for about 5 or 6 years. And also, the way how I was kind of raised.
Conservative.
Right, conservative, but then I can still give it a raw chop patois, and I can still do all of that, right? You understand?
Yeah.
So again, it goes back to me being relatable, and I think that is why a lot of my audience kind of stick onto my content just like that, because at the end of the day, I can relate to the persons in the inner city. I can relate to the persons who are more conservative. I can relate to the persons who are, rah Jamaican. So my content can speak literally to every and anyone, and that is what my aim is.
How do you kind of choose your topics? Because I kind of went through and I thought there's going to be one topic that he won't have done, because it kind of is the one that I know about it, but nobody ever talks about it. And then when I looked and I listened, and it was is spiritual healing and obia the same thing? And I was frightened. I was like, oh my God, this is science. This is whatever. How do you go about choosing your topics?
Wow. I remember when I just was about to start my podcast, I've never listened to a podcast before. I listened to maybe 2 or 3 local YouTubers. I was not really in that realm, right? I remember when I was about to start, I started very sexual. But even while planning my first season, I said to myself that I wanted to be all things taboo, right? And for me personally, I have friends from all different spectrums, right? From all across the spectrum. So I always engage in so many different type of conversations. So whether it's about sex, whether it's about religion, whether it's about, whatever it is, gender. So for me, my content are really things that I would talk about to my friends on an everyday conversation, or things that I would like to hear. Because I kind of think that, podcasters or radio presenters, there's a blueprint, and, media thinks that you should always follow that blueprint. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go against the grain. So for me personally, anything that might be just a little bit uncomfortable, I'm going to talk about it.
I love that. To those that have just tuned in, you're listening to The Scene with Rafaela Coleman and Kim Davis. And joining us on the line, or who's with us on the line, his name is Kareem Weathers. He's a broadcaster all the way in Jamaica, talking to us about his journey so far. Kareem, now, you're a former promoter. I'm a promoter. Well, I run parties here in the UK. That's my thing. And when I come to Jamaica, I need to know. I've made the contact now. I've made the connect. But where is the best party for me to check out when I come to Jamaica?
All right. Well, because of this whole COVID thing.
When that goes down. when that
When
goes?
this goes down, anywhere in Kingston or anywhere that I attend,
Okay.
don't have a good time. Believe me.
There we go. That's sorted. We're friends now.
man.
We're friends.
Yeah, definitely.
The other thing I want you to do, how good is your English accent?
The thing is, I've been to London before. A couple of times. Yes, a couple of times. So I have family there and all of that. So
Wow.
I sometimes skip into my English accent, even on my radio show, yeah?
Do you know what? That's all right. We had Spice on the show, and Spice has links to North London. She spent quite a lot of time in North London. And you guys are actually really good at doing English impersonations, I must say.
Yeah.
I mean,
Better than my patois.
better than Kim's patois and her twerking.
Yeah.
Both.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Now, Kim has some quick fire questions for you. She's loving these quizzes at the moment, so I'm going to hand her over to you.
Right, you've got to choose one. Spice.
Okay.
Spice, Shinsia, Beyonce.
Wow.
Come on.
Beyonce.
Okay, your dream date, would it be in London, Paris, or New York?
Paris.
Think about this one. Porus, Santa Cruz, or Portmore, all in Jamaica. And I told you where I'm from, so just careful. Or maybe I didn't.
I will say Santa Cruz because my family is from St. Elizabeth.
Well, I'm from Porus.
Oh.
A great
But it's close
interview. A great interview. Would it be
It's
with...
close by. It's close by.
Yeah, a great interview. Would it be with Kim Kardashian, Kanye, Jay-Z, or Cardi B?
Wow. Jay-Z.
Yes, my
Yes.
kind of man. That's what I'm saying. I've been talking about Jay-Z
Definitely.
throughout this show. Kareem Weathers, it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you on tonight's show. Thank you so much for joining us.
It is my pleasure, and thank you anytime. And if I come back to London, I definitely have
You
to
gotta
be
hit
there in
us up.
person.
But
Yes.
listen, and Kim Davis, next time she's out in Jamaica very, very regularly. Next time she's out in JA, you've got to get her on your
Yes.
show. Is that a deal?
Deal, definitely. Kim, just send me a DM actually right now as well.
Okay.
There
So
you
we can figure that
go.
out.
There
All
you
right,
go.
darling.
We do a little co-host thing. And when I come out, you're taking me to the parties, all right?
Absolutely. Thank you so
Kareem,
much for
thank
having me
you,
again.
Han. I wish you all the best. Thank you for joining us. That was Kareem Weathers there, all the way in Jamaica. He is a broadcaster and he's doing